Today I'm going to teach you how to crochet the envelope border that captures all the yarn so you don't have to weave anything in. The back and the front look exactly the same and the yarn is hidden inside like a little tunnel. These borders are ideal for any project, but I prefer using them for mosaic crochet, especially for the mosaic row projects. I hope you enjoyed this video, so let's get started. In order to get started with the envelope border, you need to understand that you're doing this in a few different steps. First, you're going to do a slip stitch all the way around. Then you're going to work at the back of the slip stitch and we're going to crochet double crochets all the way around, and then we're going to come back to the front, do double crochets all the way around, and then we're going to capture the leftover yarn by slip stitching the front and the back double crochet rows together. So let's get started with that. First, grab the color that you want to use and make a slip knot. Now loosely go insert your hook through your stitches and make slip stitches. Make sure it's loose. You don't want tight slip stitches here because you're going to use those stitches again at the front and at the back. So simply insert your hook and make slip stitches. Once you reach the corner, you're simply going to work down the row and you're going to insert your hook into each row and capture it. So simply you can just move your yarn here on the side and insert it one row at a time and make your slip stitches. If you encounter a double crochet, you're going to have to insert into the double crochet twice because it is the same height as 2 rows and you actually crochet that over 2 rows. So make sure you do that. Insert it twice into the double crochet, and all the other rows where it's just a single crochet, you're inserting it once. Once you're done, it's going to look like this. Make sure they're all even. So ideally you want to count that the parallel rows have the same amount of slip stitches just in case. So I have the same amount here than here and the same amount here to here. And once you're done, you take your yarn and just pull it through the very first stitch. So I simply just pulled it through, so you can see that right there. So that way it's in the back. Now we're going to turn our work. And you now need to use this loop right here that you created from that slip stitch. And you're going to crochet all the way around it using double crochet stitches. So this may be a little tricky, so you have to see if you can just simply slide in there. And I start with an alternative turning chain because that's the same height as a double crochet. And now you go all the way around and one stitch at a time, place one double crochet. So just insert your hook into that loop one at a time. So again, sometimes it's a little tricky depending on how tight you made your slip stitches on the other side. Once you reach the corner, chain 2 or crochet 1 extra double crochet. That's kind of up to you, depends on how you want to do it. And now you're going to have to look a little bit closer because we have the colors here changing a little bit. So you have to kind of look which one is which and that you have the same amount on either side. So again, that can be a little tricky, but just pull your hook through and crochet your double crochets all the way around. Once you're done, it's going to look like this. And now it's time to flip it around. And we're now going to do double crochets all the way around on this side. And then we're going to capture all this yarn that is kind of floating around over here. I pushed my loop through here and I can start immediately with a double crochet here. You can reattach your yarn if you like, but I feel like it's not necessary. So what you're now going to do is you're going to find your slip stitches, which are easy to see all the way around here, and you're going to insert your hook through the back loop of each of the slip stitches. So kind of push your hook through and crochet a double crochet simply through all the back loops. So you can hold your hook a different way. Depends on how round your hook is. So sometimes it's hard to push your hook through like this. So if you have it a little bit rounded, you simply use your hook directly and capture your back loop and then crochet your double crochets on top of it. The same is true for this side as we did for the previous side. Once you hit the corner, you're going to do a chain of 2 and then keep on going and do your double crochets all the way around. Once you went all the way around, it's going to look like this. So you'd have now 2 flaps of double crochets, and you have your yarn in between here, or your fringe, however you want to say it. And now it's time to do the capturing process. So what you're going to do, and I just do the invisible slip stitch over here. So now I'm going to insert my hook through the back loop of each stitch that are across from each other. So the parallel ones, the ones that are touching. So as you can see right there, insert and do a slip stitch. So you're going through the back loop of both of the double crochets on either side. So the touching loops, just go through and do a slip stitch. In the corner, you do exactly the same thing, and as you go around, just make sure you push your yarn down so that you can easily capture the yarn, and of course do your slip stitches right over. Once you're finished, simply pull out your yarn after you cut it, and you're going to take your tapestry needle and you're going to do an invisible seam. Go around the second slip stitch, pull a little bit, and then insert it back where you came from, and that way it's perfectly seamed. And now you just need to weave in your ends and you're good to go. I personally make a small little knot just to make sure nothing goes anywhere. And that little knot is kind of hidden once I weave in my ends here through into that envelope, just like all the other yarn is. And you're done. Now, of course, this looks much better if you have a blanket of some sort or another project, but this is just a little swatch so I can show you how to do the envelope border. And it's so amazing, so pretty. It captures it nicely, and it's actually really great because it is a little bit thicker than a normal border. But not only does it capture the yarn in between, it also feels really good and has a little bit of a firm touch, which is really nice for blankets, and it keeps everything nice and even. Just make sure that you have the same stitch count on each side, so on the parallel side, so therefore you don't have any waviness happening or something else. And one more little tip, if you don't like that there's still kind of a little bit of a gap here in between the double crochets because there are a little bit taller stitches, you can of course also use a linked double crochet. That eliminates the gap here in between altogether, and it makes it a little bit tighter, and therefore you don't see anything, absolutely nothing, and then you are good to go. I hope this video was helpful on how to do the envelope border for your crochet project, specifically in this case here, mosaic crochet. Be sure to like, comment, and share this video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the bell to get a notification next time I publish a new video or go live. I hope to see you then. Bye!